how to go for your goals in the film industry. So, is being a gatekeeper even a thing anymore? Is there such a thing as a Hollywood gatekeeper? Let's talk about it. I think this is really interesting because the industry is changing rapidly. It is like the wild, wild west out there. And a lot of people have said that there really isn't a gatekeeper anymore because there's so many ways that you can get things made in the industry today. And so I want to talk about that, as always, from the perspective of being a story analyst, as being a gatekeeper, and what it means for you as you decide to go for your goals in the Hollywood film industry. So it really is so exciting right now how there are so many opportunities. It is just bursting wide open right now. And there are many, many, many paths. And there are some people that are kind of saying, oh, it doesn't work anymore. There used to be a way that you could break in. But the truth is there's never been just one path. There's always been so many different ways that you can break into the industry. That hasn't changed. As a matter of fact, it has grown. It isn't diminishing, it's multiplying all of the different ways that you can break into the industry. And so, as you move forward, as we talk here today, I want to tell you things that you can consider about what you want to do as you go for your goals in the film industry. So, I believe that breaking into the film industry is even easier now because there are so many ways that you can do it. There are so many ways that you can go. I'm going to give you 5 things to consider as you think about how you might want to break into the film industry, how you might want to write a screenplay, sell a screenplay, be an analyst, whatever it is that you want to do. What is it that you want to do first? That's the first thing to decide. And we'll talk about 3 steps that you can take that will help you on your journey as you figure out what your goals are for the industry. But I also want you to consider 5 things about what is happening in the industry right now. And the first one is that we have gone global in a major way. I personally am working on so many projects where, like, one is a film that I'm producing that is out of Australia. Another one is that we're meeting this week for some collaboration out of Colombia. I have another friend who's a producer. She's going to shoot in Estonia, perhaps edit in Vietnam. Like, it is everywhere. It used to be that you really had to live on the coast. That is not the case anymore. Now it really doesn't matter where you live. We are meeting on Zoom all the time. This just in and of itself skyrockets the potential for opportunity for all the people that don't live in major cities. You can still hop on Zoom. You can still collaborate. You can fly to different places if you need to, but in general, we are meeting on Zoom now. So it really doesn't matter. And that is really spectacular and a very, very cool thing. And then also, regardless, story is still story, still story is still story. Story doesn't change. The things that make a good story don't change. Those go way back to the days of Sophocles. Like, things in a story remain the same. So now that there are so many ways that you can break in, there's so many things that you can do. You could do social media channels, you could do Substack or Reddit, or you can, have a blog. You can, like, make your own web series. You can do verticals. There are so many different things that you can do to break into the industry that now more than ever, story matters because there's so much noise. So as people say, oh, the Hollywood gatekeeper is a thing of the past, it doesn't really matter. I beg to differ. I really think that now more than ever, someone needs to evaluate those stories. That's where the gatekeeper, if you will, steps in. That's where the person who has experience, the person who understands how to analyze a story, who knows what makes a good story, this is where they really shine. And so learning all these different modalities or figuring out where you fit, your ability to analyze a good story. And I do believe that still it starts with screenplays, or if you want to work in television, it starts with that written page and understanding the arc of a story, what makes a scene turn. All of those things are very, very, very important. And so at some point, when you go to make the thing that you want to make, whether it's a film, whether it's a series, someone along the way is going to have to say yes to it. Someone is going to have to finance it. Someone is going to have to put the pieces together. That's typically a producer's job. And as they do that, they're going to need to see your story, and they're going to need to evaluate your story. And therefore, they will be a gatekeeper. So I really do believe that the gatekeeper is still a thing. Now, we here at Hollywood Gatekeepers, we're training people how to analyze stories, how to write stories, how to manage stories on the page and in your mind. We are doing all of that from a place of really wanting to open that gate. We're trying to get the master key out, if you will, and we really want to help you just knock that gate open. We are not from the place of, oh, we are the gatekeepers that are going to discern whether you get to pass. It is not like that. We are here to collaborate, to help you build a better story so that those gates will swing wide open. And so story is still story is still story. And so that's number 3, is that we need those gatekeepers. We need people who are passionate about storytelling. We need people who are passionate about how do you make a good story? How do you make your story rise above everything else? Now that there's so much out there, how can your story be noticed? And so we need those people that can come in, collaborate, help writers, help producers really champion that story and get that page to the screen. And so that brings me to number 4, which is connection. Connection is king, especially as AI comes on board. Now, people are starting to use AI to analyze stories. I think that's okay. I think it can be a good thing. And AI can kind of compare things, and it is a very dry or sterile way of doing it in some ways, but it still can work. You can still, I myself have created a thing we called Alice, which we go down the rabbit hole with Alice to analyze your story, or really the way that we do it, it helps you create your story. We are asking you questions to get you going. The AI that we have created is not allowed to actually come up with ideas for your story. It's only allowed to ask you questions to prompt your version of your story, and it's working beautifully. And so we've created that inside of Hollywood Gatekeepers so that our students can use that. However, that does not replace people. As a matter of fact, people are becoming even more valuable. Human connection is even more important as AI comes onto the scene. It used to be that readers were very much behind the scenes. You never met your reader. A lot of people didn't even know that readers existed. I've had to do a lot of explaining as to what is a reader, what is a story analyst, because we've been so behind the scenes. Now, because of AI, I'm seeing more and more places where they're like, here's our reader, meet our reader, here's what they look like. And now it's beautiful because the readers, we can come out of our basement covered in crackers and we can kind of clean up. We can actually like meet people and talk about stories and really, really help those writers get a really great story on the page, and those producers really get that script to the screen. And so it's really fantastic. As we become just more visible, we can do more things. And so we can use AI as a tool. That's totally fine. But really what we want to do is double down on that human connection, because that's what makes it so fun, important, playful, meaningful, all the things, right? And then the final thing I want you to consider as you look at how to go for it in the film industry is really double downing on your own level of discernment. I really think that discernment is the word of the future. Discernment is where you decide whether or not this is worth your time. You're discerning right now in this moment whether or not you want to continue watching this, right? Of really looking for what's real, like literally, can we tell, is this a real thing or is this an AI thing or what's going on? We have to start to learn how to discern on a much deeper level than we've ever had to before. And so as you figure out how to discern things, this will make you a kind of better analyst in a way, right? And so can you start to develop your ability to discern, the kinds of projects that you want to do, what you want for your future, who do you want to follow, what kind of projects do you want to be involved in? That's what's a really interesting thing that's happening, is that it really is your time now. Even though we are collaborative, even though we've gone global, even though there's more collaboration and people involved, the individual is really shining now. It really does become about what is it that you truly want? What kind of projects do you really want to do? We're starting to really like come into silos in a way of people going, you can so easily discern what you want. People can easily at their fingertips pull up the things that they are particularly interested in. Algorithms are following people and showing them more of what they like. And so because we are getting so much into kind of our own individual tastes, if you will, and things that we want to see, this becomes really interesting for you to realize as you step into going for it in the film industry, as you decide what it is that you want to do. I think it's really exciting because you don't have to start fitting into the line of everyone else. It used to be that you had to toe the line, as they say, right? Now you kind of make your own path. And we do this a lot in Hollywood Gatekeepers inside of our membership, inside of our Insider Track membership. We talk a lot about what is your path. We have a success path that you follow. We have a success path accelerator that helps you determine what your path is right out the gate so you can really decide and then move forward. So these are really things to consider as you think about going for it in the film industry. And then it boils down for you to take kind of 3 major steps. And you'll see in other videos that we break this down in much more detail, and we'll focus on one thing at a time. I have a lot of videos that I'm planning to continue to do that will continue to expand on all of this. But there are kind of 3 overriding things for you to consider and for you to act on as you go for it in the film industry. And number 1 is that thing of determining what you want, discerning what is the future that you want, really like specifically, who do you want to work with? What will it be like? Where will you be living? Like really imagining it in great detail. You're a writer, you're a creative, or you wouldn't be watching this right now. So I can really rely on that. And you can really use that skill to really determine what you want. And then to find those resources. So when you find the resources that support what you actually want, that discernment becomes so much easier, right? Because you're building that path in one direction as to what you want, and then who aligns with that. So you're no longer kind of blanketing, as they say, spray and splay things of like, oh, I have a screenplay. Hey, everybody, read it. Instead, you're like really deciding the kind of story that you have and who is the good fit for it, so that you can find the resources that you need to make that story happen, or to get on board with someone else and really make it, this story shine. And then the third thing is building that community. Like I said, connection is king. The more you can build a community, the easier it will be for you. So let's build that path. If you'd like to know more about how to join our community, there are links down below so you can learn more about our programs. There's also a link if you'd like to do some private coaching with me. I'm Carolyn J. Carpenter. I'm a certified life coach, and I absolutely love helping people learn how to manage the stories on the page, as well as the stories that we have in our mind that hold us back, that keep us from doing what we want. And so go through and really think about these things as a whole for the industry, and then these 3 major things that you can do for yourself as you decide what you want, as you reach for those resources, and as you build that community that is so very important. It's one of the favorite things that we do here, is building that community and having people that really get you, having coaching so that you can really get to that next level. So go out there and either be the gatekeeper if that's what you want to be, or start your screenplay and find a gatekeeper that will help you move that screenplay forward. I can't wait to see what you do with it.